Just learning now that the case against Alec Baldwin in the Rust shooting trial has been dismissed. We bring in our NBC Dana Griffin reporter and legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fedden is also with us. Dana, what a shocker, right? Give us the highs and lows. What just happened?
My goodness. I mean, I've never witnessed something like this happen, but essentially the judge agreed with Baldwin's defense that the evidence that could have helped their case was held against them, essentially prosecutorial misconduct. They said that evidence was withheld. These rounds that were brought into the sheriff's office back during Halyna Gutierrez-Reed's trial, but was never disclosed to the defense. So they brought this up during their arguments because they had a motions hearing. Carrie Morrissey, the prosecutor in this case, took the stand in her own defense, so to speak, and that's when we learned her co-counsel, Linda Johnson, resigned today. And the lead detective on the case is the one who said that it was her sheriff supervisor, and prosecutor Carrie Morrissey that decided to put this evidence under a different case number, which ultimately let it sort of disappear. And so just in the courtroom, we saw the judge read out that this conduct was highly prejudiced to the defense, and you saw actor Alec Baldwin break down into tears as the judge granted their motion to dismiss. His family emotional. He stood up, left the courtroom. We are working to get more details about what's happening now outside of that courtroom, but obviously a major shocker in this case. And also, it's important to remember, what is the family of Halyna Hutchins thinking at this moment? They were looking for justice in this case, and they said that they were, hoping that anyone held accountable would be brought, would be judged by their peers in a jury. So it's a tough day for the family who's looking for answers, but for the Baldwin defense, a major win in this case. Tom?
Dana, thank you. Kristen, is this a surprise to you as an attorney and a former prosecutor? I mean, I got to say, I'm a layperson watching from the other side of the country, and this prosecutor's case all along has seemed troubled.
Yeah, Tom, like you pointed out, from start to finish. And really, unfortunately, the finish is very serious. This is what's called under the law a Brady violation. As Dana pointed out, the prosecution failed to disclose that ammunition. That was critical evidence, but most importantly, evidence that if tested by the defense could have been favorable to their defense. And the fact that it was put under a different case number really highlights that level of misconduct that could have been, that the judge actually found. So this dismissal request, I mean, the judge could have done many things. They could have sanctioned, they could have given defense more time to test that evidence, but the judge found this display of withholding this evidence, putting it under a different case name so that it looked like it wasn't part of this case, to be so egregious that the judge actually invoked the most serious sanction that happens in these types of cases when there is a Brady violation, and that's the dismissal of the case entirely.
Don't go anywhere, Kristen. Dana, we've got video just into us right now of Baldwin's reaction in court as he broke down crying when the judge dismissed the case. And so Alec Baldwin will leave New Mexico a free man, not facing any more charges related to the death of the director of the movie that he was producing. And I'm just wondering, as you look at those are pretty authentic emotions coming from him. This has been an extraordinarily stressful time for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super stressed. And you can only imagine, because remember, if we walk through the history of this case, he was charged with involuntary manslaughter. The charges were dropped at one point. The former special prosecutor had attached this special enhancement that would have possibly landed him 5 years in prison, but it was the wrong charge to attach because that law was enacted after the shooting. And then January of this year, a grand jury indicts him on the same charges. He has fought time and time again to try to get this case dismissed. They have alleged prosecutorial misconduct for several other issues. So to get to this trial and to have this major bombshell be revealed, not only does it impact Baldwin's case, but you best believe the defense attorney for the armorer, Halyna Gutierrez-Reed, will likely try to request her case be overturned. What if she may now be released from prison because the evidence of these rounds was really more helpful or possibly exculpatory to her case, because she alleged that she didn't know where those live rounds came from, and that this box, either she didn't know where it came from or that she got it from the supplier. So we may likely have to the judge may likely have to review not only her case, will review the evidence that was presented in this case, but also her case. So this legal fight is not over, Tom.
Dana, real quickly, let's pause because we've just now got the sound in. This is the judge issuing the order when she dismissed the case against Baldwin. Let's play that.
The sanction of dismissal is the only warranted remedy. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and a mistrial would not be based upon manifest necessity. Further, the sanction of dismissal is warranted in this case. The state has repeatedly made representations to defense and to the court that they were compliant with all their discovery obligations. Despite their repeated representations, they have continued to fail to disclose critical evidence to the defendant. Brady and Harper are satisfied. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted.
Kristen, you've been in many trials yourself as a former prosecutor. I'm just wondering, did this whole prosecution seem weak and fumbled to you? And then what kind of a black eye is it to have the whole case dismissed by the judge?
It's not only a black eye, Tom, to have the whole case dismissed by the judge, but I think where the black eye really truly comes in is the judge made very clear this is prosecutorial misconduct. And why is it prosecutorial misconduct? The very last thing any prosecutor ever wants to be accused of is a Brady violation. And that means that you did not turn over critical evidence to the defense. And based on the way that the judge stated it, it really implies, or really explicitly states, that it was intentionally withheld. Sometimes Brady violations are by mistake, and so the case can come back down. But the judge said the case cannot even be retrialed. She cannot do a mistrial. Jeopardy is already attached, and that's why she had to dismiss it with prejudice. So they cannot retry Alec Baldwin. They can't give the evidence back to him, give him more time, and then reinstitute the charges. This case is over, so it is a huge black eye.
So what does this mean then for the prosecutors who brought the case? If they've been accused of prosecutorial misconduct, might they face charges, or what could be the ramifications for them?
I don't think they would face any criminal charges, Tom, but certainly they could face some type of ethical violations. With Brady, typically what happens is the court kind of looks at why was the evidence withheld. In this case, Tom, I don't understand why there would be any reason why the critical evidence in this case would be assigned to a different case number. That case number that is attached to the file is so important because it allows you to kind of organize all of the case documents as well as the evidence. And all prosecutors know that. From everyone in the prosecutorial office knows that, from prosecutor, attorney, all the way to, office clerk. And so it really defies logic as to why she would do that, other than to point to intentional trying to withhold this evidence. And as Dana pointed out, it's going to also call into question the integrity of the other trial.
The headline, the breaking news, Alec Baldwin, his case dismissed because of prosecutorial misconduct in New Mexico. He is a free man. Kristen and Dana, thank you both very much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.